So, I haven't done this in so long. Hi, I'm Bria. So, for those who don't know, I started creating content at the beginning of 2025 because God gave me a conviction to capture the world from my lens. People tend to look at the negative things, and it's all about perspective. If you continue to focus on the negative things of the world, which are valid things to focus on, you will only see those negatives. And my conviction with my content is to portray life in a way that is optimistic. Not always positive, but optimistic. I made content, I filmed a bunch of it, and I put it together, which if you haven't watched, you should. I love that video. I still feel like something was missing. And I remember after watching Clifford's testimony on the Godly Wisdom podcast that I was once again reinvigorated with this sense of purpose in sharing my testimony. And he mentioned that it's important that even as he approaches new seasons in his life, that he needs to remain humble. I remember telling some of my friends that I want what my experiences have been to not only keep you from making a mistake, but also to set the groundwork. I don't want anything to be too shameful to mention around me. And I still mean that to this day. So in the spirit of fresh starts and honestly just putting my life before now behind me, I'd like to share a more detailed testimony, one that I haven't really shared on this platform or any platform, which is fun. I think that it's important to be in conversation about what God is doing in your life, even if it doesn't feel big, even if it doesn't feel small. Like, don't feel like you have to hold back your testimony for anyone. Also, I do want to put a disclaimer here. I'm going to be talking about some heavier things, so I don't want anyone to be unaware of that. So my parents immigrated to the United States before I was born, and they brought over some of my siblings. I was the first kid to be born in the States, and I was the only kid that was born between the two of them. There's a special type of covenant that God placed me in. They were married, they were in love, of course, and my name actually is Hindu for love. Priya in Hindu translates to love. I've learned over the course of my life that a lot of the cycles that have either been around me or ones that I've caused are kind of rooted in that purpose, because a name is a powerful thing. And I've been giving a name of love, which could either be, like selfless love, like Jesus's love, or it could be perverted. So my parents separated when I was 5, and it was during this time that I was sexually molested by another student, actually. It was repetitive, it was in a very public area. It was really hard for me to tell anyone, because usually when we educate about sexual abuse, it's, this big scary stranger or an adult family member. But this was happening to me from someone that I knew, someone who I considered my friend, and also another kid who was supposed to be innocent of these things, but his innocence was robbed, and in doing so, he robbed mine. I didn't realize it, of course, at the time, but there were a lot of things in my mind that were rerouted from this experience. From what I've learned, usually when someone experiences a very traumatic sexual event, they either tend to go into the more conservative side, or they go to the side of over-sexualization, where they kind of make themselves more provocative in an effort to maintain control over their sexual identity. I don't think I really landed on either extreme specifically, but I did notice that, especially as I got older and I started to have genuine feelings for other people, that I did cater towards that over-sexualization side. So much so that when I lost my virginity, it was with someone I barely knew. Like, someone who clearly liked me, but not in a romantic way, purely sexual. I was content about it. I was in the world, the flesh was fleshing, and I honestly didn't think that I needed an emotional attachment to someone. The thing about sexual sin is that it's perverting what God has intended to be sacred and holy. And even being in my flesh, I kind of peeped that something was wrong. For the most part, I just thought it was weird. A lot of media will convince you that the normal thing to do when you're in high school, when you're in college, is that you explore yourself and you explore other people. But I didn't know why it was so appealing to everyone. I wanted to be intimate with someone, but I didn't really desire the sexual part. I wanted emotional intimacy, which I came to learn is one of my greatest strengths as a believer, as a woman, but also just as a decent human being, which I try to be. Emotional maturity and emotional awareness are a bit different. Being aware of your emotions is more so kind of like the original stimulus. Think of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. You can know that a door is a door without understanding how you use it and being able to apply wisdom to open the door. Emotional maturity comes into play when you're able to know how you're feeling and not allow those feelings to impact other people. Okay, let me not get too off topic because I definitely just started talking about emotional maturity for a calm minute. The covenant of marriage is very sacred. Whenever you try to have some of those aspects outside of covenant, if you're not intentionally working towards the goal of marriage and relationship, you're always going to be missing something. My perception of what it means to be Priya is distorted. Like, I know at some points in my life I felt more myself and I felt more of a purpose and happiness, but I don't think I've ever truly felt joy or peace or love until I did give my life to Christ. He was restoring a lot of things that were perverted, my perception of friends, femininity, masculinity. There's so many things that one experience in the beginning changed about me. This tattoo that I got in my last year of college is Elroy in Hebrew, which is the God who sees me. He sees me specifically the way that he saw Hagar when she was fleeing from captivity. He showed her a vision that she didn't need to see or deserve to see, really. And I think that's what he's continuing and been continuing to do with me. So I gave my life to Christ my freshman year of college, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the exact date because I was definitely still in the world. I still have this worldly perception of Christianity. It seems as if it's something that's performative because the people in my life who call themselves Christians don't model it in a lot of ways. I'm grateful that I did have a lot of sound scripture taught to me during this time. However, I realized that I was missing a very big part of the Bible. Jesus. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to understand the quality and the concept of knowing Jesus. So after I started to read the Gospels is when I feel like God was really able to use me in a different way. Before I really understood what was happening, God started to use all the things that I had already had preconceived notions of and use them for his glory. I've always liked being around people, but after coming to Christ, I realized that I really want to make a difference in the lives of others. I had led in a few different organizations before, but I didn't feel qualified to lead in anything God related. I thought there was just so much I need to learn, so much I need to do. But when God is ready for you to do something, not only will he equip you, he will put you exactly where you need to be. I was chosen to lead this Bible study on my campus called Revive with two people who I had known but never really known, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I always felt like the way that I think about everything and analyze, and oh my goodness, I see math and music and rhythms and content ideas everywhere now. I always thought that that made me weird, and I didn't really understand that it was God trying to show me that he can be glorified anywhere. There's so much good in just talking about God. When you go out into the world and you make disciples of all nations, you have to be intentional about everything. One of the great things about Revive is that we provide a safe space for people to just ask their questions, to learn about the word, to dig into that word. I was also a social media chair for Warriors for Christ. Shout out Warriors. This is when I learned that not only do I have a passion for creating content, but a passion for creating intentional content, which is a little bit different. You notice a lot in this story that there are things that I wanted to do that I didn't feel qualified to or capable of. But I learned in this position that not only can I create content, but if I'm intentional about it, I can do an okay job. Glory be to God, of course. I'm learning more about God. I'm growing closer to him. My faith is growing. I'm in these different leadership positions as well. And everything seems to be going really great, except, can you guess what it is? Yeah, it's a man. It's a man distracting me. The person who first introduced me to Christ and my first church was the same person that I was giving things outside of covenant to. Do you see the connection? And I wondered for the longest time why it was so hard for me to leave. I knew I wanted more for myself. I knew that if God wanted me to be in a situation like that, that it wouldn't be so much of my own oil going into it, but I couldn't admit to myself that I wasn't willing to give that relationship completely to God. He wants all of you so that he can use all of you. There were still things in me rooted in shame, rooted in lust, just in general a lacking of faith and trust that God would be willing to give me everything that I desired. So after a lot of prayer and honestly me just getting fed up, we stopped talking for a while and I started going to therapy. It was there that I realized that being both emotionally mature and spiritually mature is the key to success. And it's a lesson that I'm continuing to learn. Obviously, I'm not perfect, so I make mistakes. But God has really convicted me about how powerful it is for me to feel my emotions and not idolize them. After this period, I did go back to that person. I felt like he was starting to lose himself in me, which, because I was more mature and aware, didn't feel responsible to continue. That breakup was probably the best decision I made all of 2025. It was like exponential growth. When you're genuinely willing to sacrifice the things that you desire to God, he's always going to show up for you. Because he's gonna show up for you regardless, but if you can't hand him that thing, there's only so much he can do. God doesn't want you to suffer. He doesn't want you to be in sin. But if you love the sin more than him, he's gonna give you over to what you love, not because he doesn't want you to be changed, but because he's not gonna force his presence onto you. He's a gentleman. So yeah, that's more of a summarized version of my childhood and my college experiences. The main thing that God made clear to me in this past season is that not only can I go far, but I can finish strong if I depend on him. Most of 2025, I honestly didn't know what I was going to be doing at this point. Like, I knew that if God wanted me to do something specific that he would have told me, but then I was doubting the way that I was hearing him. Once we just relaxed and genuinely submitted my future and my will to him, not even a month later, I was blessed to receive a full-time job in Jersey City, and I moved to New Jersey for the job, of course, so I'm here now. I also found out about All Nations Church from one of my friends who posted about Manifestival, and the job has been great. The job has been amazing. But the community that I found at this church is 100% the reason as to why I'm supposed to be here. Being in a space with so much reverence and love and awe of God, it just encourages you as a believer. It's really important for believers of all ages, whether or not you're new in the faith or you're a seasoned vet, to be a part of a community. You need to be connected and tapped in so that people can hold you accountable, but also so that people can be there for you. And on the flip side of that, you want to be there for others. Shout out my media team. They be answering all of my questions, and I ask a lot of questions. So yeah, that's how I became not only a believer in Christ, but also a leader in ministry, and just in general, acquired this fire for God that continues to keep me going. For anyone who does relate to my story, please feel free to reach out to me. And just a general word of encouragement, you are loved. You are loved, you are valued, and your emotions in themselves are valuable. If you continue to seek your validation from this world, you're always going to fall short, no matter what. But if you seek your validation from God, you will feel a sense of wholeness and completeness, and you'll generally feel like you matter. It's time to work the job that I prayed and fasted for now. So I'm gonna head out, but have a blessed day. I didn't know I was gonna do this video today. I had every intention of making some form of creative content, and I was just hitting a wall. God, yeah, he's very intentional about these things. We can do this.
Each